Hello. Hi, everybody. This is a little bit now. Yeah, it's a little bit. My name is Amy Saripos. I'm from Writing Our Legacy. This is our second ever poetry room. We've been delighted to work with Africa House, Monique, and Ibu from African Night Fever, who's a music promoter of African music for, I think, the past 10 years or more, 15 years. And we wanted to present this concept of creating an intimate, inclusive space for people of all backgrounds to come together to enjoy poetry, spoken word, and live music that really speaks to our souls and minds about really what's going on in the world. In particular, it's a reaction to Brexit, it's a reaction to Trump, it's a reaction to kind of recessionary tactics. It's about all of us kind of coming together and feeling like we can be people of color, people from LGBT backgrounds, from wherever you're coming from. It doesn't matter. We're all here together, and this is a stance to say we're here for you. So I'm presenting 3 fabulous artists tonight. We're going to have spoken word, followed by live music. Then we're going to have about a 20-minute break so you can kind of digest, get drinks, then come back, and then we're going to have some incredible poetry. So tonight has been made possible through funding from the Arts Council. We've also got some support from Brighton House City Council, who kind of recognise the work that we do as a voluntary organisation to support and promote Black and ethnic minority writers kind of across Brighton and Sussex and the South East. I work for free throughout the year to make this stuff happen. So yeah. And also, obviously, a really great community like yourselves, so thank you for being part of it. Now I'm going to hand over the mic to our first speaker. She's going to be giving a very fascinating talk, and I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to let her, so I've got her sore throat. Please put your hands together for Mariam.
Hello, good evening. My name's Mariam Crichton, and my talk tonight is going to be about power, leadership, and social norms. I'm going to weave the topics along the theme of matriarchal communities. Has anyone been to any matriarchal communities? What? You have? Where?
I've been to
Matrilineal?
matrilineal.
Yes. Okay, all right then. So I can make up the talk then. I'm going to be sharing my experiences, my own travels. I've travelled a lot in my time. And today I'm going to be talking about my visits to matriarchal communities in Sumatra, Bhutan, and Malaysia. I didn't seek these communities out. I was just travelling and I just sort of stumbled across them. But they left a deep impression on me that I've never forgotten, and they kind of altered me. And then many years later, I've decided to research them. So I've researched the latest white papers on these 3 specific communities, and I'm going to share a lot of the facts that I've learned today. So today I will talk about my visit to Sumatra in 2003. I'm a lot older now, look. My visit to Bhutan in 2008, and then my visit to Lijiang in China in 2012. So even though I'll talk about specific facts around these matriarchal communities, most of what I'm talking about is common to all matriarchal communities, much of the things I'll be discussing. And in ancient times, much of our world was actually matriarchal, and throughout time, as sort of resource fighting happened and we needed big warriors, the world started to slowly change to patriarchy, and now patriarchy is the dominant way. But many matriarchal communities still exist in Asia, in Africa, and in Central and South America. My talk really is about patriarchy is so pervasive and subtle, we don't see it in our everyday lives. So in order to understand what we're living in, because I feel like we're living in a fishbowl, unless you've travelled, you can see no alternatives. And I was born and brought up in London, So I'm born and brought up in this patriarchal world, in Brighton, in Sussex, in the United Kingdom, in the Western world. You know, I know the attitude we have, and we have this attitude that our way is the best way, our way is how you should do things. And I work in international development, so you know, I can see that we go into other countries often and we think our way, our attitude is how things should be done. But actually, people are totally fine in their own, running societies and cultures in their own way, and can even thrive. So I'm going to use the topic of matriarchy to show you alternative ways to living and to challenge social norms. So first I'm going to talk about Sumatra. My visit to Sumatra. Sumatra is in Indonesia. There's actually 17,500 islands in Indonesia. I spent a couple of months travelling there. And Sumatra is the northwest, I think, island. It's big. It's above Java, which is the main island we think to be Indonesia. And at the southern end of Sumatra is a culture called the Minangkabau. And it's a matriarchal culture. And it's had the modern religion of Islam come, and it coexists with Islam today. They say you only know who the father is by the confession of the mother. It's a bit cheeky. There's a cheeky implication there. But it's true if you think about it. So, children in matriarchal communities inherit the mother's name, because you all know who the mother is. In our culture, we inherit our father's name, and if we're daughters, we then inherit our husband's names. And actually, it doesn't really matter, does it? We have to inherit one name or another, but there can be alternatives, which can make logical sense. They say a rooster can lay no eggs. There is a cultural perception that girls and women are very good caretakers. They're good at nurturing and looking after the children, looking after the elderly. It's quite natural to them, and they're good at it. Therefore, they need the economic security to enable them to take care. Therefore, in these cultures, particularly in Sumatra, women inherit the land. Because they also look after the household and inherit the property. This means that they've always got the home, and they will always look after the elderly, and they will always look after the children, and not even the children, just extended family and everybody around them that needs looking after. That home is always there for them. But when you have the property and the land, you then own the harvest. If you're a senior woman, you might be looking after 75 people in your clan. You own the harvest. You have the money. Power lies in land ownership and in control of your money. Another key feature in matriarchal communities is marriage is really not that important. Like, our society puts everything on marriage. We are brought up to succeed, we must get married, we must tie our legal contracts and religious contracts and our whole lives onto this person that we've met for a few years, or not even at all. We could be a complete virgin, and then that's it. That's our society, that's Disney. But in matriarchal communities, nearly all of them, it's just not important. Who your partner, romantic partner is, when you get married, if you get married at all, it's none of anyone's business. It's just no big deal in these communities. It's something private, because when women leave, they believe that actually your romantic feelings are valuable, and these feelings can change. They believe it's important to value your romantic feelings, and who you go out with when you're 16 might not be who you want to go out with like 30 years later. they don't think that's a particular solid thing to base laws around. So they believe that your brother relationship, a sister-brother relationship, is more important and more stable in these communities. You're going to have your brother for the rest of your life, and they're always going to be there. Matriarchy is not the reverse of patriarchy. Women value men, and men have significant roles in society. In the Manakru culture, matrilineal uncles have huge authority in dispute settlements, administrative positions. They're very important. And brothers, of course, where a woman might consult her husband normally, actually you consult your brother, because men fathers don't even live typically in the family home. They just visit you overnight. They come and go, and it's like quite, it's just your own private business. In fact, here we have this culture where we really value virginity, and that is a big deal. But actually there, it's like, in matriarchal communities, no big deal. It's kind of, a young man courting a woman, you kind of have to come overnight quite a few times, even for months, till she's finally satisfied and go, okay, yeah, I'm going to marry you. And there are even rituals and customs where a girl will put his shoes outside her door in a special place to symbolise to the whole family, yeah, he's a keeper. It's kind of try before you buy. But marriage in all these communities is easily broken, dissolved. In Bhutan they call it walking marriages. In this culture, divorce, you just pack your things up and you go. But a woman always has the home, and she looks after the children, and she's got her brother and her uncles and lots of male figures in society. So that might sound really controversial, but that's how it's done. And it's funny though, isn't it, when women are in charge, they don't make a big deal of romantic relationships and marriage. When I was in Sumatra, I didn't know I was entering a matriarchal community, but I was just on the bus. It was actually a time where we're not supposed to be in Indonesia because of the war at the time in the Middle East, and they were very anti British and Americans. And my ex was he was a white, so I think they were very anti-white Caucasian-looking people, we were just on a bus, a bit of a crazy bus, chicken roosters, that kind of thing. And there was this teenage boy, and he was teenage boys, but attitude, a swag. He was actually in front of the bus, I think he was reciting the Quran at the beginning of the bus, but he was kind of making people feel a bit uncomfortable with his attitude, you know what it's like on a bus. You've been in South London. Then this woman walks on. And she's a senior woman. And has so much dignity about her. And she pays for her bus ticket. And then she just turns around, and it was like a sonic boom through the bus. Her energy just changed the whole bus. The teenager immediately sat down and kind of behaved himself. There was this big, beautiful man. He kind of had this look of humbleness on his face when she walked in. Nobody even knew her. And I thought, this is weird. What's going on? I've never really experienced this before. I'm not really sure what's going on. And then later I realised that this was a matriarchal community. And senior women in matriarchal communities have enormous respect. Absolutely enormous respect. And I realised I'd not witnessed that here. As a woman, when you're out of the male gaze and you're not of childbearing age, that's it. Men who are senior have all the respect in our society, but women. And so for me to see, I didn't get it. And I was ashamed to think that actually I didn't see women as authoritative ever or naturally commanding respect, because I hadn't seen that as a role model when I was young. And then I suddenly saw it. It can happen just for being a senior woman. And then I thought, oh, this is strange, what's going on? And then I saw the architecture. They have houses and buildings, and they're amazing. They've got like the roofs, they've got these big horns that come out like this. I've normally got pictures for this talk, but I haven't got them today. There's huge roofs with like horns, buffalo horns coming out, all of them huge, really. I thought, that must be really difficult to build that. Why do they build buildings like that? And then I did a bit of research and learned that it was a matriarchal community. And then they have, they're based around a story of theirs that they say happened, which is called the triumphant buffalo. And so the architecture is buffalo horns. One of the things about matriarchal communities, particularly in the Minangkabau, is values are different. They value wit over brute force. So there was this Java, big army, wanting to invade Sumatra, kill, fighting, war, you know. And the men came over going, right, we're going to invade Sumatra. And women are like, they do not want their beautiful men harmed. So what do? They said, hang on a second, I've got an idea. Rather than us, you know, thousands of men dying in war, how about we settle this out with buffaloes? You pick a buffalo, we'll pick a buffalo, and whoever wins the war, and then we don't have to go to war. What a great idea. So they did that. And of course the warrior men bring a big, strong buffalo, fierce warrior of a buffalo. And what did the women do? They got a calf. They got a calf. And they starved the calf. The calf that needed milk from its mum. They starved the calf. And on the head they put a little crown on the calf that looked quite cute, but it actually had little spikes. So when they put the two buffaloes together, the little calf, ran straight under the buffalo to drink milk and speared and killed the big buffalo. And that is the story of the triumphant buffalo. And so they didn't go to war and they won. They didn't invade. And that is an example of wit over brute force. I'm going to now talk about Bhutan. Bhutan, I don't know if anyone knows where Bhutan is. Yeah, it's between India and China in the Himalayas. It's a really beautiful, one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. Everyone's deeply spiritual, Buddhist. It's full of mountains and temples, sort of built around cliff edges. It's very magical. They actually measure gross national happiness. So I spent a little bit of time in Bhutan, not too long because you have to pay $200 to be in the country per day. They don't want too much tourism because of what's happened in India and Nepal. In Bhutan, the women also inherit the land and therefore the household, which is very important because with land comes power. However, the power does not lay in land relations in Bhutan. The power lies in the monastic traditions, in the monastery, the monastic establishments. So there is a big gender gap in education because at least one son of every family has to go to the monastery, to the monks. And that's the only place till recent times where you would get educated. And whilst Buddhism is equal with male and females in its ideology, in practice, girls are strictly not allowed in temples or in monasteries because we're full of temptation, and therefore they don't get educated. So the boys get educated, and education is key to power. So in Bhutan, the men run the government and the women inherit the land and own the land. But the women also are responsible for business, trade, what's bought, what's sold, negotiation, taxes. So can you imagine that our girls are taught that you're going to be running businesses. It's normal for you to negotiate. You're supposed to be sharp. You're supposed to look after your money. No one's going to come and earn your money for you and do everything. We've been such a different time. We're sort of taught here that someone will come and take care of us, and that's that. And it puts so much pressure on men. Men have to do everything in our society and culture. Everything. There's no sharing of responsibility. And also, it makes sense for the women to be running businesses and doing the negotiations all day, because they need to use the physical strength of men. Men have a big advantage in that they've got physical strength over us. So they need to go out fishing, hunting. They love it there. Fishing, hunting, working the fields, and while they're doing all the physical stuff, or in government, the women are doing all the business. And you can see it. You go into a shop or a business, and again, I thought something's a bit strange here, and I didn't quite get it. And when you walk in, you see women doing business or negotiating, talking about money, because we're talking. It's kind of like unladylike to talk about money, isn't it? They're so unapologetically sharp. I'm not used to self-deprecating or smartness in this culture. So that's really interesting. And again, marriage, no big deal. Most of the communities are polyamorous. You can walk in, walk out, dissolve them easily, dissolve. It's not that valuable. And I also remember seeing a lady. I said, "We're married." She goes, "No, we don't. We trust each other." So I'll move on to Leizhang. Leizhang is in China. I lived in China for a little bit with my 1-year-old at the time. Leizhang is, it's kind of, people talk about it being the Shangri-La, the sort of paradise that people travel to the Himalayas to go and live. It's like heavenly. Well, Leizhang is also a matriarchal community, a very pretty place to visit. And many of the same things happen. Senior women have enormous respect. Women inherit the land, similar things. Childcare. In order for women to work, we need childcare. Otherwise, we cannot work. So in Leizhang and many communities, they have collective childcare that's very well organised. And if you have childcare taken care of, then it enables the women to work and hold senior positions. I mean, if you think about it here in the UK, women were struggling to not just be typists in the 1980s. We think we're so far advanced, but in ancient times, women worked, they held senior positions, they owned land, they had positions of authority. It was the norm. But here, it's only in my lifetime. I mean, I'm joking and giggling about polyamory and, marriage and etc. And women being in control of, their sexuality. But in England, it was not till 1984 that it became against the law. Rape within marriage was against the law. And I think that statistic just shows you actually how different, how we think we're so advanced, we think we're so forwards, but these cultures that exist today and for many, many times were so far ahead in their thinking. Another key thing in Asia, the culture there, is collective decision making. Again, when women are in charge, their values and priorities are different. They believe in more collective decision making. It isn't like one man in charge, one man makes a decision, and it isn't so hierarchical. And they tend to collaborate more and value that. In Leizhang, they say, what seems good to oneself should be agreed by others. So a culture of negotiation is pervasive in Leizhang and matriarchal communities. Actually, one of my favourite facts about Malaysia and in China is actually China's huge, everybody looks different, we all think everybody looks the same, eats the same, so different. Like everywhere you travel, it's like going to a new country. They've got completely different ways of religion, they look different, they speak different, they eat different, it's so varied. And in this language, the Naxi people, you know like in France, in French you have la and le, like masculine and feminine. Well, that really influences us. What is masculine, what is feminine when we speak? Big furniture, small furniture. In China, I'll give you one word example. The word stone. So there's a masculine way to say stone and a feminine way to say stone. If you say stone in the masculine way, you're referring to a pebble. If you say stone in the feminine way, you're referring to a boulder. Because they perceive femininity as strength, and that is everywhere in their language. And I say femininity because actually it's not about male female. In Asia we have the concept of masculine and femininity qualities within us. We're both masculine and we're feminine in one. And they're qualities. It's not saying a woman is better than a man. But the feminine qualities are stronger. And in fact, what the most important thing are values in our society, and the values in matriarchal community are compassion, nurturing, and respect for your nature and the earth around you. And that drives their decision making and values and the way that they organise themselves. And of course, in the Western world, to be compassionate is seen as a weakness. To be nurturing is seen as a weakness, because we see feminine qualities as a weakness. And to be in societies, walking down the road, getting on the bus, going to a shop where they have completely different set of values, you can feel it. Patriarchy is pervasive and subtle in our culture, and I'd like you just to go away the next week and just think about all the things that we do that is actually, we're only doing them because they're patriarchal and this is our culture. Different people do things completely differently, and there's no right or wrong way, there's just the way that you do things. And I actually come from the technology sector. I know one or two people do here. And in fact, this is the first time I'm ever talking in the arts. I normally talk in geeky tech circuit in Brighton. And in the tech sector, women are in the minority. So it's quite hard for us to become senior and to be leadership roles. And a lot of young women there's one or two women and there's like 20 men, in the tech sector, or designers, developers. And young women find it really hard to progress in their careers, and that's because we have the way we work and the way we think is we have different set of values and priorities, and that isn't what this power structure is now. So we value collaboration, negotiation, nurturing, caring, compassion. These aren't the values that will make you successful, particularly in the world that we work in. And I've been very successful because actually I've got masculine qualities in me that have made me become successful. What I'll just say is that I hope today has just sort of opened your mind so that you don't take things personally when you're battering your head against your boss. It's just, there is a different way of communicating, a different power structure, and that's fine, that's totally fine, there's nothing wrong with that. You just have to learn not to navigate that power structure that we have here today in the world, in the Trump world, and become leaders. Thank you.
Amazing. My eyes have been widened. I might go and travel now after this, after I lose the sore throat. That is just fantastic. Thank you so much, Mariam.